Alright, next chapter, The Wind in the Willows, by Kenneth, Grahame, retold by Ellen Miles. The Wildwood, Chapter 3. Mole had been wanting to meet Badger, but Rat kept putting it off. He'll turn up when he wants to, he told Mole. Couldn't you ask him here for dinner? Said Mole. He wouldn't come, replied Rat. Badger hates society and invitations and dinner and all that. Well then, what if we go visit him? Suggested Mole. Oh, he wouldn't like that at all, said Rat. He's very shy. Besides, it's out of the question, because he lives in the very middle of the wild woods. You just wait. He'll come along someday. But Badger never came along. When summer ended and cold and frost kept them indoors, Mole started to think about Badger again. Mole was restless because Rat's winter routine was not so exciting. In winter, Rat slept a lot. During the day, he scribbled poetry and did household chores, and there was always animals dropping in to visit and talk about their wonderful memories of the summer. They talked of flowers and sun and boating and swimming and all the other adventures they'd had. All of that was nice, but Mole was a little bored. So one afternoon he decided to go out alone and explore the wild wood and maybe meet Badger. It was a cold afternoon when he slipped out of the warm parlor where Rat was dozing. Everything looked different outside, with bare ground and no leaves on the trees, but Mole liked the way it looked. He wasn't scared at all when he first encountered the wild wood. Twigs crackled under his feet and logs tripped him. But that was all fun and exciting. He went on, deeper into the wood, where it was darker and the trees crouched nearer and nearer. Then everything became very still. It got darker very quickly as the sun went down. Suddenly, Mole began to feel a little afraid. He saw scary faces peeping out at him, and he heard strange whistling and pattering sounds all around him. He kept moving, trying not to be frightened, even when a rabbit ran by him and whispered, "Get out of here while you can, you fool." He kept going until he was too scared and too tired to go any farther, and then he curled up in a nest of dry leaves and tried to sleep, wishing he had listened to Rat. Meanwhile, Rat dozed in his parlor until the fire crackled and woke him up. He looked around for Mole to ask him if he knew a good rhyme for something or other. But Mole was not there. The house seemed very quiet, and Mole didn't answer when Rat called for him. He went into the hall and saw that Mole's cap was missing from the peg, and his boots were gone. Rat left the house, hoping to find Mole's tracks. There they were, sure enough, running straight into the wild wood. Rat set right out, following the tracks. It was already getting dark when he reached the first trees. He went straight into the wood, looking for any sign of his friend. He saw the scary little faces and heard the frightening noises, but he ignored them, calling, "Moley, Moley, Moley, where are you? It's me, it's old Rat." He had hunted through the wood for an hour or more when at last to his joy he heard a little answering cry. He made his way through the darkness to the foot of an old beech tree. "Ratty, is that really you?" came a voice from inside a little hole in the tree. Rat crept into the hole, and there was Mole, exhausted and shaky. "Oh, Rat," he cried, "I've been so frightened." "Oh, I know," said Rat soothingly. "You shouldn't have come here alone, Mole. I tried to tell you." Mole started to feel better, knowing that Rat was there. "Now then," said Rat, "we really should start for home while there's still a little light left. It's too cold to spend the night here." He went to look out the hole. "Oh dear," he said. "What's up, Ratty?" said Mole. "Snow is up," replied Rat, "or rather down. It's snowing hard." Mole looked outside. The wild wood looked completely different, covered in a carpet of white. "Well, well," said Rat, We still have to get home. The problem is I don't exactly know where we are, and this snow makes everything look so different. They set out bravely, trying to convince themselves that they were going the right way. An hour or two later, they sat down on a stump to catch their breath and decide what to do. They were tired and wet and bruised from falling. The snow was getting so deep that they could hardly drag their little legs through it, and the trees were thicker than ever. There seemed to be no end to the wild wood, and no beginning and no way out. "We can't sit here very long," said Rat. "It's too cold, and the snow is getting deeper." He looked around. "Look here, where the ground is all hilly and humpy. We'll find some sort of shelter, a cave or a hole with a dry floor. Out of the snow and wind. We can rest there and then try again." So they got up and looked around one of the hilly areas. Suddenly, Mole tripped and fell. "Oh, my leg!" he cried. He sat up on the snow, holding his leg in both his front paws. "Poor old Mole," said Rat. "Let's see." He bent down to look. "You've cut your shin, sure enough. I'll bandage it with my handkerchief." I must have tripped over a hidden branch or a stump," said Mole miserably. "It's a very clean cut," said Rat, looking at it closely as he bandaged it. "That wasn't done by a branch or a stump. It looks as if it was made by a sharp edge of something metal. Funny." He thought for a while and looked around. "Who cares what did it?" Mole said. "It hurts just the same." But Rat was busy scraping in the snow. He scratched and shoveled and explored, all four legs working busily. "Hooray!" he cried suddenly. "What have you found, Ratty?" asked Mole. "Come and see," said Rat, dancing a happy little jig. Mole took a good look. "Well," he said, "it's a boot scraper." "So? Why dance around a boot scraper?" "But don't you see what that means?" cried Rat impatiently. "Of course I see what it means," replied Mole. "It means that some very careless person left his boot scraper lying in the middle of the wild wood, just where it's sure to trip everybody. Very thoughtless." "Oh, Mole," cried Rat, "come and dig." And he started working again and making the snow fly. Finally, he uncovered a very shabby doormat. "There! What did I tell you?" exclaimed Rat. "Absolutely nothing whatever," replied Mole. "So you found another piece of junk. Do your little dance, and then let's go." "Are you saying," cried Rat, "that this doormat doesn't tell you anything?" "Really, Rat," said Mole, "let's be serious. Who ever heard of a doormat telling anyone anything?" Rat couldn't believe how silly Mole was being. "Quiet down and dig," he said. "It's our last chance if we want to sleep where it's dry and warm." Rat dug like mad, and Mole helped, even though he thought Rat was being ridiculous. 10 minutes later, Rat called Mole over. "Look," he said. In the side of what had seemed to be a snowbank was a little door, painted dark green. There was a doorbell and a little brass plate that said, "Mr. Badger." Mole was so surprised and happy that he fell backwards into the snow. "Rat," he cried, "you're amazing. You figured it out." All right, that's chapter 3. Oh, no, I still got one page. You knew that a boot scraper meant there would be a doormat, and that a doormat meant that there would be a door. Oh, if only I had your brains. Since you don't, interrupted Rat, you're probably going to sit in the snow all night and talk. Get up and ring the doorbell while I knock. Rat banged on the door, and Mole pushed the doorbell. Deep inside, they heard a bell ring. All right, our next chapter is going to be Chapter 4, Mr. Badger. Yay, they meet the badger.